Good evening, everybody. How are you doing at home? It's your boy DC, and this is Out of the Fog, where every week we interview amazing, daring, greatly folks from across the province, working hard to make this place more exciting and successful. You can't go wrong. Tonight we have Cat Bowering, accompanied by Joe Tucker. She's going to tell us all about life singing abroad in Paris and bringing her jazz stylings back home. And then we also have Bailey Reid from the Canadian Mental Health Association of Newfoundland and Labrador, an exciting report that was just released that details the future of mental health and addictions and recommendations for everyone that you're not going to want to miss. It's Out of the Fog, and you'll see me right after this first song from the amazing Cat Bowering. Check it out.
Ça n'a pas toujours été facile d'être ta petite fille, bloquée par les plus difficiles, moi qui rêvais d'une idylle. Les grands avaient toute ton attention, sauvés par leur soudaine apparition. D'autres étaient loin à 1000 lieues, moi j'étais coincée au milieu. Toujours cette maudite perfection qui nous fait perdre la raison. Toujours vouloir avoir raison, à nous faire perdre la passion. Ça n'a pas toujours été facile d'être la troisième fille, se sentant jamais légitime à cause de ta première fille. La deuxième avait un tempérament qui s'explique si on y pense vraiment. Enfin arrive le garçon, heureusement plutôt mignon. Toujours cette maudite perfection qui nous fait perdre la raison. Toujours vouloir avoir raison, à nous faire perdre la passion. Ça n'a pas dû être si facile d'être une fille en Amérique, faisant la guerre avec les chiffres dans ta tenue si chic. Ton cœur s'est égaré un court instant dans l'insincérité des sentiments. Il t'a fallu vite décider et sur ton île retourner. Je ne te juge pas, tu as dû faire des choix pour cette maudite qu'on dira-t-on. Tu n'avais pas vraiment le choix, peur pour ta réputation. Toujours cette maudite perfection qui nous fait perdre la raison. Toujours vouloir avoir raison, à nous faire perdre la passion.
Rogers TV, St. John's.
Eight of our friends are dead. Someone forced you to give up their names.
This conspiracy goes deeper than you think.
You had a choice. You turned.
No, I remember.
It's not a good idea for anybody to be out here alone.
Have you thought about what you want your life to be now?
I'm not running. I'm not hiding. I'm here because I choose to be.
You're watching Rogers TV.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Out of the Fog, and you heard one of her beautiful tunes off the top. You'll hear her again later, but how lucky am I to have Cat Bowering sitting to my left. What are you at?
Oh, I'm great. How are you?
Oh my God, amazing. You look amazing.
Well, thank you.
So I want to start off. Talk to me about the two songs, the one we just heard and the one we're going to hear later. Where did those ideas for those songs come from?
Well, one is actually about my grandmother. Because she passed away in 2014. My grandfather passed away in December.
Okay.
So, they're emptying the house, 75 years living there. And there were a few family secrets that had consequences. Now, we knew beforehand. It wasn't a total shock, but actually my grandfather found out things before he passed away.
Wow.
So it was a complete shock. So that's one of the inspirations. But I'm also telling my grandmother that I don't judge her. I understand her. She did what she had to do, and it was during wartime. So totally understand.
That is
But it's fascinating.
Girl.
But family secrets really take a toll on families. Like, the truth is hard, but it needs to be told. And that's like whatever the situation. And then the other song is more of a uplifting, haven't got a job, haven't got a house, haven't got kids. We kind of, right. But every cloud has its silver lining. And if you choose to be grateful for what you do have, well, then, and so the conclusion is we haven't been put on this planet to mope around and be miserable.
Well, let's dig back into the back stacks of Cat Bowering. St. Pierre.
Yeah.
Talk about life growing up there and how amazing it must have been for you to grow up in such a tight-knit community.
It's funny because some people can find it hard because it's so small. Everybody knows everybody. So, and that was part of the issue for my grandmother, what will people say? But I was never too bothered by that because I was lucky to have an Anglo Newfoundland father who was like, meh, and he's half British, so it was kind of big eccentric. And so on one hand, it felt actually safe because, a small community self-regulates.
Right.
Because you can't behave like total tool.
Interesting.
You'll be called out. So guys behaved well and people in general. And all generations. And even now on Facebook, you'll see photos shared and you I recognize them despite the fact you didn't go to school with them. You're not quite the same age. But so it's a big family. It's a special place. So, and it's the paradox of having fewer opportunities and at the same time more. So, like, obviously, I didn't go to music school. We hardly had any music lessons, back in the day.
Right.
But because my parents had a nightclub, I was able to go up on stage at the age of 15 and sing with bands from Newfoundland or Paris. Or at the age of 17, I got chosen to ask a question to François Mitterrand, the president of France at the time.
Wow.
With direct, and plus I was a bit disrespectful.
Tell me more.
Oh yeah, well, it was in 1993, organized a show, and of course, St. Pierre wasn't quite as rigorous as the other overseas territories, like Martinique, Guadeloupe, Reunion Island.
Right.
So I had a tiny bit more freedom on my question, and I changed my question. So he wasn't able to prepare his answer. So that kind of went wayside. But there was a minute of silence the following day at the War Memorial because of his answer. So But and I ended up working for the MP of St. Pierre and the Senator of St. Pierre, and that was in Paris for the Senator. And that was, you know, because I was from St. Pierre-Miquelon. And so you get these opportunities. I mean, I didn't go to the school that prepares you to be a legislative assistant, but I got a chance to do it because of the local connection.
That's amazing.
So it's a pretty special place.
Well, I mean, and speaking of special places, Paris, I mean, what a dream for so many to even hear about Paris. And yet you went there and worked there and performed there and delved into music there. And we would find you in the clubs in Paris playing your jazz music with your band. I mean, it's all just covered in stardust, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, and there's even more like Paris is definitely romantic, and the terrace cafe culture is very wonderful. And I was lucky towards the end to be in this a neighborhood with a pedestrian street, and there were loads of cafes. So there was really this neighborhood feel. I even became friends with a Quebec magician who would hang out at the same cafe.
I love that.
But there was also this wonderful gospel scene. Who would have thought? But, you know, France having also been a bit of colonial, having a bit of a colonial past. There are many, you know, Caribbean or African communities.
Yeah.
And I got to sing with amazing gospel choirs, which were great for my voice.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How can folks get a hold of you and to see you perform next? And where do you play? And tell us everything.
So, I mean, I play in a few bars downtown, like the Black Sheep. Next gig is May 22nd at Battery Cafe.
Love it.
So that'll be with Joe Tucker, with who I've been playing today. And sometimes it's with you know, and the Gypsies. We're going to change that because it's derogatory, but we're thinking of Catélicoq. Anyway, so, and I've also done shows at Spirit of Newfoundland, for example. I've got a Facebook page, so Cat Bowering, and also just recently made a website, so catbowering.com. No E at Bowering, it's like the park.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so happy to have you. I want you to come back again.
With pleasure, anytime.
I think we're very lucky to have a dynamic tapestry of artists across the province, everybody watching at home, and to have someone who can bring the flavors of France and Portugal and everything under the sun, all these different influences. I think more than ever, we're all stuck around. We all want to hear more of what the world has to offer, and that's what Cat is bringing you. So check her out. This is Out of the Fog. Right back after this break.
All right, girls.
Mom, you said it's played again.
Workplace injuries hurt the most at home.
I started playing softball when I was 4 years old. I loved it because it was all about having fun with my friends. And it still is.
From little kids to adults to seniors, softball is a sport for everyone. Join us.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Out of the Fog. Well, as you know, I'm a huge proponent of mental health, and the subject is so important that we've come so far and we have so far yet to go. And so who better to be hanging out here during Mental Health Week, which you'll be hearing about this show in a couple of weeks. So we'll be looking back on the week that was. But Bailey, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
I'm so glad you're here. Now, as I said before, mental health and addictions, so important for us to talk more about that. And your work with the Mental Health Association of Newfoundland and Labrador is doing just that. Tell me everything.
So, Canadian Mental Health Association has underwent a research project in the last year, or a reporting project, I should say. So we've just come up with the first independent public report on the Newfoundland and Labrador mental health and addiction system, but it's from the perspective of people with lived experience. So the majority of the times when we have reporting on our mental health and addiction system, it's from the government, and it's a lot of numerical data.
Sure.
It's a lot of numbers, how many people accessed a service, how many people were in the hospital for mental health and addictions, or how much it all cost. And that is very valuable information. However, people's stories are also very important. These are the folks who are navigating the system day to day, and their stories are very, very important to hear in order for us to really find, I guess, that richness and that depth of understanding about our mental health and addiction system and what needs to change, what we can do better, and also highlight the things that we're doing really, really well. So that's a big piece of my work at CHMANL in the last year. But we also offer a lot of other really cool programs and services.
And so the Canadian Mental Health Association here in Newfoundland and Labrador offers, as you say, so many services to help folks. And not a lot of people, not enough people, I should say, are aware that they can reach out and make contact to ask for the help they need. And I suppose you encounter a lot of that stigma that you all continue to fight every day to make sure that people understand that there are solutions and accessible people to listen and help out. How much do you think the needle is moving forward on folks understanding that you are an organization that can be approached and that you do offer help?
I think that, our organization is definitely in the forefront of, mental health and discussions on mental health and addictions in this province. I think we're definitely, because we're a national organization, we're all across Canada. So I really do believe that we're looked to as a forerunner in these types of discussions. Absolutely. And for answers for people. Part of my job is system navigation. So people call me day to day just to ask about, just to tell me some of their stories and, to figure out where best to go next. And we actually have a system navigator within the regional health authorities, Barry Hewitt, and he's fantastic, but there needs to be more of him. So I do get a lot of calls for system navigation, and also just on the programs that we do. We do a lot of stigma reduction trainings. We do Think Twice. We do Changing Minds. We'll get private companies, contact us a lot of the time for those, or really anybody in the community can contact us for any of those types of trainings. And yeah, I think that's what, CMHA is really aiming to do, is provide education in a way that does reduce stigma and, opens the conversation.
I love it. And so having worked on this report as you have for the last year and a half, very deep and detailed, and now this report is ready, what's inside and what bits or insights can you offer now to help folks viewing at home understand the power of what they're about to learn more about via this survey, or this report, should I say? Right.
So, well, we came up with 4 themes after speaking to 40 people across the province. And they were access and navigation. So folks want, services to be easy to, get involved with and easy to move through. Right. The second finding was that people want consistency with their healthcare providers so that they can build meaningful, connected relationships that help promote recovery. Also, our third finding was proactive versus reactive services. So a lot of folks talked about services here in the province were more reactive. So, when things got really bad, that's when they were able to access services versus wanting more proactive services, things that actually help prevent the crisis from happening before it gets to that really bad point. And the final finding was about confidence in the system. So a lot of people with lived experience, or PLE as I like to call them, talked about, not having a great deal of confidence that the system was actually going to provide for their specific needs and be able to really help them promote their recovery. One of the more interesting pieces of the confidence in the system was a lot of people talked about luck. So when they talked about having positive experiences with the system, they didn't attribute it to having actual confidence in their healthcare providers, but to just being simply lucky, which was quite telling.
Yes.
Yeah, that was quite telling. So that sort of reinforced the theme of yes, it is. And it reinforced the theme of confidence in the system, or the lack thereof, in the province. And, another thing we heard with regard to proactive and reactive services were that a lot of folks felt like they were just, criteria all the time just to try to get entry. Some folks said, I present really well and I articulate my mental health, concerns very well. So I'm almost not believed when I'm trying to access service, and I'm not triaged or I'm put to the end of the list. And conversely, other folks said, I wanted to get into this program that I thought would really help me, but they told me I needed to be more stable first. And as we know, people don't fit into perfect boxes.
Sure.
So that was a common theme and a problem that came up as well.
Well, I appreciate that. And this work is so important for everyone across the province and beyond to benefit from. What are your hopes in our final moment of our hang here? It's crazy how time flies in an interview. I can talk to you all day, and I'm sure I will in the future. My question to you is, what do you hope comes out of the work that you've done in terms of benefiting the people of our province?
I hope that the people, number one, the 40 folks that we interviewed and who were so courageous to step forward and speak with us, I hope that they feel that this report has done them justice and their words justice. I really, really want this report to come out once every 2 to 3 years to benchmark the state of the mental health and addiction system in the province and, see how the needle is moving, as you say. And I really want, government stakeholders as well as community and private sector to really step up to the plate and liaise together more and more to really create the best social safety net that we possibly can for people who need it most in our community.
Wow, so well said. No doubt you are policy and engagement specialist for this incredible organization. I can't wait to see what you do next. Appreciate you so much, Bailey. Guys, make sure that you can access your girl. The social channels are listed below, the website. This report is very important. It depends on the stories of folks that have given so much bravery to contribute to these things, and we hope it continues to move the conversation forward regarding mental health here in the province. Thank you so much for coming on. Will you come back?
Yes, absolutely.
I love it. Guys, this is Out of the Fog. Right back after this break. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Out of the Fog tonight. It was so great to hang out with Cat Bowering, and I hope you guys check her out on her new website, catbowering.com. Go out and check her out all over the city as she performs all the cultural songs from near and far. And thank you so much to Bailey. She is such a guiding light, helping the needle move forward on mental health and addictions here in the province. And thank you to the Canadian Mental Health Association in the province for all the hard work that you guys do for us every day. It's all about that tighter social security net we were talking about earlier. One more time, it's Cat Bowering. This was Out of the Fog, and we'll see you guys next time.
J'ai pas de boulot, j'ai pas de pension, j'ai des trous dans mon pantalon, j'ai plus un sou et c'est bien moche, j'ai des trous dans mes poches, mais j'ai mon cœur et j'ai ma voix, je garderai toujours la foi dans la vie, dans la joie, je remonte encore une fois. Quand on n'a plus d'espoir, quand on est dans le noir, qu'on n'a plus la tête à la fête, soyons reconnaissants pour tout ce qu'il y a de bon pour traverser cette tempête. Quand on est au plus bas, quand plus rien ne va, qu'on a le moral dans les baskets, il faut se relever, savoir en rigoler. On n'est pas là pour faire la tête. J'ai pas de maison, j'ai pas de jardin, pas de balcon pour mon café le matin. J'ai pas de voiture, j'ai pas de vélo, je suis bonne pour prendre le métro. Mais quand je peux, je prends le bus. Ainsi je peux tout admirer plus. Et en attendant sur le banc, j'imagine la vie des gens. Quand on est dans le noir, quand on n'a plus d'espoir, qu'on n'a plus la tête à la fête, soyons reconnaissants pour tout ce qu'il y a de bon pour traverser cette tempête. Quand on est au plus bas, quand plus rien ne va, qu'on a le moral dans les baskets, il faut se relever, savoir en rigoler. On n'est pas là pour faire la tête. Pas de petite amie, ni plus d'enfants, pas 10 années, c'est assourdissant. J'aimerais bien, bien plus de bruit, avoir ma propre famille, mais moi j'ai tant si bons amis. Ma famille à moi, je l'ai choisie pour le meilleur et pour le pire, et surtout pour le rire. N'est-ce pas, Joe? Hein? Quand on n'a plus d'espoir, quand on est dans le noir, qu'on n'a plus la tête à la fête, soyons reconnaissants pour tout ce qu'il y a de bon pour traverser cette tempête. Quand on est au plus bas, quand plus rien ne va, qu'on a le moral dans les baskets, il faut se relever, savoir en rigoler. On n'est pas là pour faire la tête. Il faut se relever, savoir en rigoler. On n'est pas là pour faire la tête. Il faut se relever, savoir en rigoler. On n'est pas là pour faire la tête.
If you have a comment about this